The one addition I want to really bring to the concept of self, as at least I understand it and have seen it used in IFS, is the concept or the idea of depth. That there can be different depths of our access and embodiment and experience of self. When we use self-energy and those concepts more in this, there is enough of it there and we use them interchangeably. I think we lose a lot of subtlety on what the different kinds of experiences of self-energy and self can actually be. If we look at it as, is a part blended? No, a part is not blended anymore. Okay, we can move ahead with the healing process of the parts. We might miss that there are actually depths and levels of exploring and unfolding ourselves. And that's the core of what I want to explore today, is the idea or the experience that the self and our access to ourself can be unfolding, that we can experience the self at depths that are different and that are new and that are beyond just having enough self-energy. And I want to give a map and a visual for that to explore that. I want to introduce a model that has different depths of our experience of self, that introduces these depths, but I want to introduce them a little bit more experientially. So imagine, with the examples we've already used, we start a session out with a part that's blended. When asked how do we feel towards that part, there is I don't really feel different from that part, that's just me. The part is blended. No self-energy present, just me. Through unblending, the part separates. And suddenly we feel curious towards that part. We feel compassionate towards that part. And if we think along self as a tool to use, or as a resource to use to move the process forward, that's perfect. We can now start exploring that part from self. But at the same time, if the self is separated, we could also explore and unfold our own experience of what is this self. And at least in my experience and what I'm experiencing with clients again and again is, if this experience of self has space and has time to deepen, then what was maybe in the beginning I feel compassionate towards that part can turn into more of a I am compassion. It's not even about a feeling state. It's not about, towards that part, I feel compassionate, but it's more of a being state. It's more of an essential aspect of our nature that we are compassion. We're not compassionate. That would be too little. It's I am compassion. I am love. I am present. I am presence. These states of being, these essential qualities of who we really are, that are not about how we relate to something, but how we are, what we are, at least in my experience, are a level below, or not below, a level deeper, a deeper sense of that experience of self. And in the map I want to propose, and this is not perfect, but is this experience of self-energy, of feeling compassionate, of feeling calm, of feeling courageous, is the outer experience. But if we deepen into it, we can find a level of, that I would actually then call self and essence, where we are not compassionate, but we are compassion. Where we are not courageous, but we are courage. Where, yes, we can relate to our experience courageously, but actually if we go deeper than that, we are courage. And that is a shift in how we experience ourself and how that self and that quality of being can land in us. Now, in my experience with myself, but also working with clients, this deepening can happen quite naturally if once the seat of consciousness is not taken by a part anymore. We allow an unfolding, we allow a deepening into the felt sense, but also just the whole experience of what it's like to be self. What it's not even just like to be in self, but to be self. What the experience naturally unfolds into. It takes time and it takes awareness. So I think it's then important to not immediately move towards the parts work. Sometimes that's exactly what's needed. If we're more in a therapeutic container, a therapeutic context, perfect. If there is enough self-energy, go for it. But if it's about deepening into our essence, into our being, and truly embodying ourself more deeply, having time and awareness and presence for that deepening to happen can be a totally different way of working. It's about working with any part that might come up and wants to take the seat of consciousness, allowing them to relax and unblend, but then deepening into the experience of self, deepening into the experience of essence, of who we really are. In my experience, there is even more depth possible than just the essence or self-experience. And I think, or in my experience, this is a level where it's very difficult to find words and to find any descriptions of this level. So when we've come from self-energy, from feeling courageous into courage, from feeling compassionate into compassion, and really experiencing that as part of our deepest nature, that we are compassion, and we stay with that, we allow that to unfold. In my experience, and I've experienced this with clients not as often, but a couple of times, there can be an unfolding where even that clarity, where this is compassion, this is not compassion, but more courage, melts into a deeper sense of a mystery that often goes beyond words, where even the distinction of this is courage, this is something different, drops away and there is a pure beingness. Now, I think that's what many traditions try to describe with non-duality, absolute being, true nature. I think there are many words to try to describe that state of just unfolding, of melting into oneness. And I want to propose to just call it the mystery, where we deepen into something that's mysterious beyond being able to just call it self or essence, where a mystery is happening in us and we are part of a mystery. And a deepening into this, in my experience, is a deeper experience of the same, but it is not self-energy anymore, it is not self anymore, it's deeper than that, different than that, and yet the same. And this is where words leave me, and a part in me comes up that feels a little bit weird about talking about this, because I have not mastered this realm. It's more of an experience I have, and an experience I have witnessed in multiple clients by now. And I try to share so that we can use that map to use the tools of IFS that are brilliant to not just work on our parts, but to support us in our unfolding, in the unfolding of ourself. Because I think that's another branch of this work that can be beautifully used and that can serve a group of people in a different way than the pure therapeutic or the pure parts work of IFS can. And that's my hope with this video, that you maybe can understand this map, and maybe it supports you, it gives you clarity on experiences you've had, but also to get feedback on it and see where you maybe disagree, so this map can evolve, because I'm not clear on this, but I think it points to something very important. And as a small thing at the end, that's where I also want to in the future introduce this as the model, including the storage of parts, the active parts, the separation, the self, and using the whole mandala as the image, because in my experience, especially in the deeper levels of this self experience, it becomes very clear that the self and the essence and the consciousness, true nature, is the base of all of that's happening, is the base of all the parts, of all of that existing, so that yes, we still have parts, yes, they are living on this, and in a way they are their own unique beings, but all of that is happening on the base of who we really are. That's the foundation of it, and I want to just make that clear in this image within the next few videos of explaining more concrete tools using IFS. Thank you very much for watching.
You never know what's around.